Hello friends, I am Dr. Manisha Devre, Assistant Professor from Department of Physics, KVN Naik College, Nasik. In this series of lecture of SYBSc class, Mathematical Methods in Physics, Semester First, Paper First, this is our third lecture. In the previous lecture, we have seen Introduction of Complex Number, Rectangular, Polar and Spherical Coordinates, De Moivre's Theorem, and some hyperbolic functions. In the today's lecture, we will see some important identities. In the previous lecture, we have seen sine of I theta is equal to I into sine of theta. Using z is equal to I of theta, we can write sine of I theta as e raised to I theta minus e raised to minus I theta upon 2. If we'll multiply and divide by I to this expression, we can write I into e raised to I theta minus e raised to minus I theta upon 2i. This is nothing but sine of theta. E raised to I theta minus e raised to minus I theta upon 2i is nothing but sine theta. So this is nothing but I times sine of theta. So it proves that sine of I theta is equal to I times sine theta. Similarly, cos of I theta is equal to e raised to I theta plus e raised to minus I theta upon 2. So this is nothing but cos of theta. E raised to I theta plus e raised to minus I theta upon 2 is nothing but cos theta. So cos of I theta is equal to cos theta. Third important identity is sine of I theta is equal to minus sine I theta, or I sine theta is equal to sine of I theta. If we'll use z is equal to theta, we can write sine of theta is equal to e raised to theta minus e raised to minus theta upon 2. This is the general expression for sine theta. If we'll multiply this theta with I, then we can write it as e raised to minus I theta. So after multiplying or solving this, we can write minus I square. Now we know that I square is minus 1. So minus minus it will become plus. So again it will be theta. So it is nothing but e raised to theta. So it is e raised to minus I theta minus as it is, and e raised to, instead of theta we have to write down I into I of theta divided by 2. Friends, just try to understand this step again. Instead of theta, we can write minus I square theta, because I square is minus 1 and this minus. So minus minus will become plus. So instead of writing e raised to theta, we had written here as e raised to minus I times I theta. So that we will get the expression for e raised to I theta. Okay. So this will become e raised to minus I times I theta minus e raised to I times I theta divided by 2 after substituting all the values in this expression. So if we'll if we'll divide and multiply it by 2, I, then we can write it as minus I e raised to I times I theta. This I will take outside. So this minus will take outside. So it is e raised to I times I theta minus as it is. And here it is e raised to plus I times I of theta. So as we have taken minus sign outside, we have to write down here minus sign. Are you getting this, students? I will repeat this step again. Here we have multiplied and divided this step by I. So it is I time, here it is in the numerator it is I, and here it is in the denominator also I. In the numerator, from this we had taken minus sign common. So this minus we had write down here, and here there is no minus sign. But as we have taken minus sign outside, we have to write down minus here. So here in this step there is a minus sign, and remaining terms as it is. So sine of theta is equal to minus I times e raised to this expression as it is, which is nothing but, now only in here the change is that I is in the denominator, which is nothing but the expression for sine of I theta. So this expression will be sine of theta is equal to minus I times, and this is your sine of I theta. Or we can write I times sine of theta is equal to sine of I theta. Friends, you have to pay attention on each and every step. Then you will get it easily. Now fourth identity, which is very important, that is cos of theta is equal to cos of I theta. We have to prove this. For that, using theta z is equal to theta, we can write general expression for cos theta. In the previous lecture, we have seen that e raised to theta plus e raised to minus theta upon 2. Now, instead of theta, again we'll write minus I times I of theta. Okay, because here minus I into I will be I square, which is nothing but minus again. So minus minus it will become plus. So it is plus theta, which is nothing but e raised to theta. Fine. Plus e raised to I times I theta. Again I into I will be minus I square, which is nothing but minus 1. So it will be e raised to minus theta, which is nothing but this expression. Fine. Divided by 2. This in this expression again, if we'll take I outside, then we can write e raised to I times I theta plus e raised to minus I times I theta divided by 2. So this is nothing but cos of I theta. So cos of theta is equal to cos of I theta. Next important characteristic identity is sin square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1. We have to prove this using this functions. The trigonometric functions sin theta and cos theta are given as we have seen this in the previous video, that sin of theta is e raised to I theta minus e raised to minus I theta upon 2i, and cos of theta is e raised to I theta plus e raised to minus I theta upon 2. If we square these two expressions, we can write it as e raised to I theta minus e raised to minus I theta upon twice I whole bracket square, that is sin square theta, plus e raised to I theta plus e raised to minus I theta upon 2 whole bracket square, that is cos of theta square. So if we'll open this bracket, we can write it as e raised to I theta square, means it is e raised to 2I theta. Fine. Again here it will be plus e raised to 2 minus 2I theta and minus 2. But in the denominator there is a 2I. If we square it, it will be 4I square. Again I square is minus 1. So that minus will take in the numerator. So this plus will become minus. So it is minus e raised to 2I theta, and here it will be minus 2. So that will become minus minus, it will become plus. So it is plus 2 minus e raised to minus 2I theta. Are you getting this, friends? As in the denominator there is 2I, after squaring it, this I square will become minus 1. So in the denominator there will be minus 4. So here we had taken 4 as a denominator, and here that negative sign it will go to the numerator, and all the signs of the numerator will go on changing. Fine. Plus now we'll open this bracket. So it is e raised to twice I theta plus 2 plus e raised to minus 2I theta. Fine. Now here e raised to 2I theta, and here it is e raised to 2I theta. Here it is plus, here it is minus. So it will get cancelled. Here it is e raised to minus 2I theta. Here it is plus e raised to minus 2I theta. So these two terms will get cancelled. Now here it is plus 2. Here it is plus 2. It will become plus 4. And in the denominator it is plus 4. So it will become 1. In this way we can prove that sin square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1. Next important identity is sin of 2 theta is equal to 2 sin theta cos theta. Now we'll take right hand side as 2 sin theta cos theta. As we know the values of sin theta and cos theta, we'll substitute the values of sin theta and cos theta as 2 times e raised to I theta minus e raised to minus I theta upon 2I for sin theta, and e raised to I theta plus e raised to minus I theta upon 2 for cos theta. Now if we'll multiply these two brackets, we can write e raised to 2I theta minus e raised to minus 2I theta upon 2I as it is, which is equal to e raised to I times 2 theta minus e raised to minus I times 2 theta upon 2I. So 2 sin theta cos theta will be sin of 2 theta. Next important identity is cos of 2 theta is equal to cos square theta minus sin square theta. Again we'll substitute the value of cos theta as e raised to I theta plus e raised to minus I theta upon 2 for cos theta, and we have to square it for cos square theta minus this is the value of sin theta. So it is e raised to I theta minus e raised to minus I theta upon 2I whole bracket square for sin square theta and negative sign in between. So if we square this bracket, we can write it as e raised to I theta square will be e raised to 2I theta. Then square of this term will be e raised to minus 2 I theta as it is, and 2 times this, so it will become plus 2, and in the denominator there is 2. After squaring it, we'll get it as 4. Minus sign as it is. Again we have to square this bracket, so it is e raised to I theta square, so it will be e raised to 2 I theta. Again we have to square this term, minus minus will become plus, e raised to minus 2 I theta minus 4. Okay, and in the denominator it will be 4I square, so it is minus 4. Again, if we'll rearrange these terms, this minus and this minus, it will become plus now. So it will be e raised to 2I theta plus e raised to minus 2I theta plus 2, first term as it is, plus now all the signs of this term will be changed. So it is plus e raised to 2I theta plus e raised to minus 2I theta minus 2. Again here plus 2 and minus 2 it will get cancelled, and these terms will become 2 times e raised to 2I theta minus 2 times e raised to minus I 2 theta. But in the denominator there is a 4, so if we'll take 2 outside, then this new 2 in the numerator and 2 in the denominator, it will get cancelled. So in the denominator only 2 will remain, and we'll get the expression as e raised to I 2 theta minus e raised to minus I 2 theta upon 2, which is nothing but cos of 2 theta. So cos square theta minus sin square theta is equal to cos of 2 theta. Next important concept in this chapter is applications of complex numbers to determine the velocity and acceleration in the curved motion. Now if we consider the particle moving along the curve in this xy plane, here is the diagram. This is the xy plane and the particle is moving along this curve path. Suppose we'll consider point P in this xy plane represented by the complex number z is equal to x plus iy, and we know that it is written as r times e raised to I theta in the exponential form. As the particles theta and r changes with time, z is the function of time t. So if we'll differentiate this z with respect to t, we can write it as, see, this is the exponential form. So we have to differentiate it with respect to t, as it is z is the function of t. So it is dr upon dt times e raised to I theta. That is, as we have seen that derivative of uv is u dash v plus v into u dash. So this is your u dash, r is your u, and e raised to I theta is your v. So first of all, we'll find out the derivative of r. So it is dr by dt. At that time, we'll keep v as it is. So e raised to I theta as it is. Plus, now you will keep r means u as it is. So r as it is, and we have to differentiate this v with respect to t. That is d of e I theta upon dt. Okay, just try to understand, friends. Again now dr by dt into e raised to I theta as it is plus r. Now we have to differentiate this e raised to I theta with respect to t. So it will be e raised to I theta as it is, and we have to differentiate theta with respect to t. So it is d theta by dt. Now we know that dr by dt is r dot. We can write dr by dt as r dot, d theta by dt as theta dot, and dz by dt as z dot, which is nothing but velocity. So complex velocity z dot, that is v, is equal to r dot e raised to I theta plus ir theta dot e raised to I theta. This is from the previous slide. But we know that I is equal to e raised to I times pi by 2. So we have to just substitute the value of I here as e raised to I pi by 2. So this v will become r dot e raised to I theta as it is plus r. Now instead of I, we have to write down e raised to I theta, and this theta dot as it is into e raised to I times pi by 2. Are you getting this, friends? Now here r dot e raised to I theta plus r theta dot e raised to I times theta plus pi by 2. Now from this expression we'll take I outside, and this theta plus this pi by 2. Okay. So this part, that is r dot e raised to I theta, is called as the radial component of the velocity, which is denoted by vr. And this part, that is r theta dot e raised to I theta, is the component of perpendicular component of the radial part, and it is called as the transverse velocity, and it is denoted by Vt. Now differentiating this velocity with respect to t, we can get the complex acceleration as dv by dt is equal to d dt of this expression, that is r dot e raised to I theta plus r I times r theta dot e raised to I theta. So after differentiating this, we can write it as r double dot e raised to I theta plus r dot e raised to I theta dot plus I times r dot theta dot e raised to I theta plus I times r theta dot e raised to I theta plus I r theta dot e raised to I theta times I theta dot. So after in this expression, if we'll take e raised to I theta common, then we can write this expression as, here it is e raised to I theta, so only r double dot will remain minus r theta square into e raised to I theta. Here it is e raised to I theta, so it is r square theta dot square plus I times 2 r dot theta dot remaining terms now plus r theta dot into e raised to I theta. Now in this expression again, this term, that is r double dot minus r times theta dot square, it is a radial component of acceleration denoted by ar, and this term, that is 2 r dot theta dot plus r theta double dot, is the transverse component of acceleration, which is denoted by at. So in this way, the complex numbers are useful in obtaining the components of velocity and acceleration along the radial and transverse direction. So friends, you have to just pay attention on each and every step so that you will get it very easily. I hope you can understand all the concepts in this video very clearly. So if you like this video, please like and share it. Thank you. Stay tuned.